Approximately 7 years ago, we started using pivots on land that we had previously irrigated with hand-moved sprinkler systems as well as gated pipe. We went this way because it was an issue of labor savings. Not only was it a cost issue, but it was also the availability of the personnel that were talented enough to be able to do hand-moved sprinkler system. Getting the people that could do the work was becoming more difficult. Looking into the future, I had to make a decision as to which way we were going to go with our agronomic crops primarily.
Labor costs for our operation are monstrous, and we are basically going to be able to probably replace about 6 to 7 irrigators with our mechanical irrigation system. So there's going to be a significant savings from a labor cost standpoint.
Even on flood irrigation, it was still pretty labor intensive. If we were using sprinkler hand lines, you're talking tons of labor to irrigate this spot. So definitely labor would probably be the #1 best thing that happened.
Well, I used to have guys out here changing water every 8 hours. On a 2-week span, I've got one guy that comes by here 3 times a day for basically 5 minutes to make sure everything's working properly and all that. So the labor is huge.
The flood irrigation was just too much water. There's a high water table here, so we were getting too much weed. It was hard for the weed control, and sprinkling it was basically the only way to put a small amount of water, just enough for the crops and not to drown it out. We were getting a lot of drowned out root rot.
I've been engaged with the University of California's research component on the minimum tillage and conservation tillage program, and we found that the pivots kind of lend themselves to this type technology the best. With the effort of mechanized irrigation through the pivot, we have the ability to apply the right amount of water as needed for the crop to do as well as or better than we did previously.
I think the greatest benefits are in increased water efficiency, and the efficiency of the application. And what we're also seeing is we're seeing increases in production, because as you deliver that water in a more efficient situation where it's actually getting to the crop in a more timely fashion, that our yields are going up.
The labor, the efficiency of application of water, the infiltration rates when done properly through the engineering are far better than what we would have previously had with our other systems.
One situation last year, we went through on our wheat crop, which we grew the wheat crop, it'd be a year and a half ago, we grew it for grain. And it took us 3 truck and trailer loads of fuel, which at 7,500 gallons, per load. So it took us roughly 22,000, 23,000 gallons to grow that grain crop. We grew a wheat silage crop in here, which is not 1 or 2 less irrigations, but we did it with 3,000 gallons of diesel. So there's a difference of 19,000 gallons at $3, a gallon. The pivots are paying for themselves. It's really easy. The nice thing about these pivots is they pay for themselves. You go back and you look at your labor costs, your fuel, your pumping, the wear and tear on a well that you're having is not as efficient. It was, I feel like, they may be 25% paid for right now in the first year's crop.
I think the weight has a lot to do with it. I think they use high tensile steel in their systems that others don't. From that aspect, I think it's a big advantage. Our soils have a low structural stability once they get wet. As such, you want to have the ability to be as light on your feet, so to speak, with that, and Reinke lends itself to that.
As a generalization, this machine is slightly lighter than some of the competitors, and so when we put the same size tires on and a lighter machine, it's logically to assume that it's going to have a little bit less tracking type of a situation. So that's the second strong point behind the machine. Once you've had one, you'll wonder what took you so long to get it.